Yo, today, damn no, listen, I've recorded this enough times, all right? Listen, look, today I have something very special. This is called, as you can see, the title says Long Term Goal Exercise 1, and I renamed it. It's really called Personal Goal Exercises, and I've mentioned this before that I've done 300 of these exercises over the span of I'd say around 18 months. Let's say like from March 2022 to July 2023. From that over a year period is when I did this exercise, and it was very insightful, very very inspiring to me, and very helpful with me understanding where I want to lead my life. We're going to get more into the details as we go through the series. And look, my hopes from this series is that some good could come out of it. Someone can learn something beneficial and share it with others. And of course, it can go two ways. Either one, this can be a really bad idea. Or number two, this was a good idea, which was what I'm hoping for. And before I start, there was this one video I had seen on TikTok, which I saved, and I watched it a lot in the past few months, and it's a very insightful message from, we got a special guest today. We're gonna treat it like it's the Fresh Prince. we're gonna treat it special. His name is Matthew McConaughey, but I'm gonna let him take the floor and let him say what he has to say.
I want to ask you, can you admit something in your life that you don't feel like you deserve or have earned? Can you admit a goal or a dream that you want to chase, but you're feeling like, nah, I can't fly that high. I'm not equipped. I don't really have the ability. I'm not qualified. Can you admit something in your life that guilt is keeping you from getting? Can you admit something that you don't want to start, continue, or finish because you're afraid to? Say it aloud to yourself. Write it down. Confess. Admit it.
And let it sit for a sec. Let it sit for a second. Very inspiring words from Matthew McConaughey. I'm not exactly sure what that's from. If that's from like a movie scene, or something that he's rehearsed, or even like I don't know what it is really, but very inspirational kind of talk, and very much in relation to what we're going to cover today, and hopefully for the following months. And really, we'll just see how it goes and how much I'm willing to give, because I'm willing to give as much of my own mind and my own personal self for the benefit of other people. And before we get into the first exercise, there is actually something that I want to share, which is the reason why I started it. And this was something I wrote back in March, and the date there is written, it's the 16th of March 2022. Now, the first thing I wrote was what happened to Virgil, Lil Durk, OTF, Only the Family. Now listen, I was listening to a lot of Lil Durk back then. I was listening to a lot of music, so the first thing I read was that, and I read a long section. So if I'm a reader, please don't mind if I stutter or struggle to read. It's a little bit far away on my OBS. What's written here is, my goal today is to develop long-term goal examples and listen to the Awaken the Giant Within audiobook. And that was when I listened to the audiobook and checked out the book. Very inspirational work from Tony Robbins, and a very great individual that knows a lot about personal development, very much so. I'm addressing my short-term, in-the-moment, present thinking. The reason I want to change this thinking is because it affects my personal and business life negatively. I become very fluid in my beliefs and standings, forget about my past, overact situations. This mind shift will take some time, but like the mindset I want to have, I will approach this with the long-term intention. One cause can be the instant gratification caused by social media. Very introspective and reflective thought right there. I will practice this before researching it by writing down 3-minute goals, hour goals, day goals, week goals, month goals, year goals, decade goals, and etc. I get really, that's what the remaining stuff. Listen, don't mind. That's my sister. I don't know what she's doing. Why is she shouting? Listen, I want to know. Listen, I stopped recording, but why my sister shouting like this? What are we doing? Okay, but back to it. Well, now we've read that bit, which is an important. It's an introduction to what the idea was behind this whole series and what I wanted to bring out of myself and what I wanted to become and what I wanted to achieve from this. And like how I mentioned, I was going through the phase of life where it comes back every now and then, but the phase in life where you don't know what's going on in your life and you're very confused and you're very much a emotional day-to-day person who doesn't really have a long-term vision. And my goal was to break that by making my priority and my focus on the long term. And you know, even as I'm saying this, I'm trying to think, how can I be precise with my words and say the perfect thing? But there's no such thing, because there'll always be something better to say. Now, the first exercise, and this video will be split in half because I do have to go break fast and then come back and, you know, have things I need to do also, which is gonna cause me to break this in half. My first attempt at this, and I haven't really looked at through my goals as of recent. This will be my first time going through them with you guys, so we'll see what I writ and what I was kind of thinking, and I'll try to get more introspective and try strip out the lessons rather than just me reading them and going through every single one. That'll be boring. Let me see how I can extract these and make them lessons of some sort. And when people start watching these videos, we can go back and forth and see where we can grow in regards to this topic. Long-term goals exercise 1, written on the 16th of March 2022. This is my first exercise, so have your first attempt at writing down goals from short to long term. Write 3-minute goals ranging from that time: minute goals, hour goals, day goals, week goals, month goals, year goals, decade goals, life before death goals. Also, one important thing I forgot to mention in that last paragraph in the last bit of the paragraph that I read was that I said to go into it without researching. And I'll be honest, overanalyzing, being a perfectionist can stop you from moving forward. And when I used to do trading and stuff, I learned about this thing called analysis paralysis, where you would do so much analyzing that you'll stop yourself, you'll freeze, and you will not actually act on anything you analyzed. So it was a great step for me to kind of say, I don't need to know everything about anything right now. I just need to start. I need to just lead with action, and whatever happens after that, that can be my learning lesson. My 1 minute from now goals: continue writing my goals, keep listening to Mike Tyson podcast, keep breathing. So it was literally a minute from now. What was my focus, and how can I be creative in writing these goals? Because as much as they're all situational to that time, they're very much specific to what I was thinking. It's a good practice to start writing them and build that experience of wiring your brain to create goals and be in that goal-oriented mindset. And I did say I'll break this video into half. This is the part where I leave, and I'll come back at whatever time. Yo, we are back. It's been 3 hours since I was last here recording this, and I'm pretty sure I remember where I last left off. I finished off with the minute goals and kind of going through that, and explaining the fact that it's about an exercise about practicing creating goals and putting yourself in the mindset of someone who was goal oriented. Moving on is the goals an hour from now. Now this gets a bit more different than the minute goals, because the minute, you can think a minute ahead. Like a minute ahead, you have 60 seconds. What are you going to do in the next 60 seconds? You can have that in your mind. Now you take it up to 60 minutes and you think, let me scale this 60 seconds. For the next 60 minutes, how will my time look? And what do I have in my mind that I want to achieve in the next hour? And you see, it progressively gets more difficult because you need to think ahead, keep thinking ahead as you move on. I wrote the first goal is to pray Maghrib, which is one of the 5 prayers. This is the sunset prayer, and this, hopefully you see through my exercises how much Islam actually means to me. It's a very essential aspect in my life, and this was before I really started to get into Islam in May time of 2022, but it's a very integral part of my life. I need to make that known, it's a very important aspect. Number 2, listen to Tony Robbins' audiobook, like I mentioned in that brief introduction I did earlier on, and eat a good meal. This is my first time trying this exercise, but this goal itself is actually a really good goal because it's something simple, something healthy, and because it's so simple, it's easy to work towards that thing. It's just eating a good meal, which also we should be grateful for. A day from now, practice Islamic teachings, practice gratefulness, meditate for 15 minutes. And I'm grateful that I've still kept these habits and behaviors and thinking patterns now, because I still believe that, especially that day from now goals, I really value those things in my life. Okay, I don't know what happened in the last minute. Something happened, it cut out, but we're back now. And I was saying that those 3 goals in the day from now goals are very essential things for me now. So it's great to see that I've kept that going. The next section is a week from now, and we're gonna run through these. Wake up and be grateful first thing. Wake up and look at my long-term goals. Before I go to sleep, look at my long-term goals. And this has reminded me that what I actually did with this specific long-term goal exercise number 1, or personal goal exercise number 1, because of that week from now goal, I had created a pattern of reading this exercise every single day for almost a year. I would say maybe even a year. I'd wake up and I would read this. Before I go to sleep, I'd read it, and it got to the point where I memorized it to remember that I have goals I need to accomplish, whether they've already passed or whether they're nearby or whether they're in the long future. I have goals I am working towards, and I have goals I've created. And it became something that I was very, very strict about and stuck to for a very long time before I just stopped doing it. Looking at my the wake up and be grateful first thing was very essential. That it helped me practice gratitude, and it's a very key concept in Islam as well. Being grateful, the first thing that you do in the morning. And 1 month from now, improve my boxing technique, become as literate as Malcolm X, have a minimum of 5 things that I stand for. Now let's go from bottom to top. Have a minimum of 5 things I stand for. I remember I created a list of, I think it was 7 things I stood for. First thing was freedom, control, and responsibility. And then it was integrity, respect, Islam, and family. Those were I think, maybe not family, but those were the 6 to 7 things I had included and things I stood for. And it helped me draw a line of things that I would not let people cross that boundary if it felt like that was happening, and it helped me be more decisive and confident in the things I was doing, and be more courageous as well. Become as there is Mark. Now, again, there's something that's happened to the recording, but I said in number 2, become as literate as Malcolm X. And unfortunately, I'm not as literate as him, but he is has a great story when it comes to not learning about things. And I remember reading his autobiography, and how reading the part of his story where he had read the full dictionary in prison. How do you read the whole dictionary in prison? And he is a great inspiration when it comes to seeking knowledge in life. And his pilgrimage and his umrah was very inspiring, because he shared a side of Islam that at that time not many people knew about in that Harlem side of America. And it's a great thing to see from such a great person. Number one was improve my boxing technique. At the time, I was really into boxing, and I haven't really boxed in a while. But during my third year of university, I was really into boxing. So this was something that was quite vital for me. A year from now, read 30 books. I read those 30 books. Alhamdulillah, I was able to do that. It's just a blessing from God. Have a great understanding of Islam. I did end up learning more about Islam, and if you haven't seen my video, it's called The Importance of Islam to Me, and I go over how I started learning about Islam in that time of 2022. So I would almost check that box, because I learned so much more than what I knew before, 20 years beforehand. Have 6 figures of money that is mine to invest and spend. I do not have 6 figures, no 5 figures, no 4, really. But, at least I made the goal. At least he shot high. 1 decade from now, I found a wife. Listen, that's not 10 years from now. That's within 10 years, all right? So, it's within 10 years, find a wife. Fully understand Islam in depth. That will not be possible, unfortunately. It's so much to learn. It's so much, but I will try my best to learn as much as I can, and as much as Allah has given me the knowledge to be capable of learning. Taught people how to find themselves. Tough one, right? I think you guys should help me answer that question, whether I have or haven't. And I just hope I have, because that is one goal that one of the many goals I want to stay true towards. 2. Life before death. Travel to 6 continents. I've traveled to 2 or 3 now. I think I traveled to 2 or 3. Publish an autobiography. At first, I really did think about publishing an autobiography, because at that time in 2022, I really thought my life was so interesting, and what I was going to embark on was going to be very interesting. And it seems so that my life is getting more and more interesting. I just hope so. But I've really started to have a change of hearts, because I feel like with this YouTube channel, and with all my YouTube channels, it especially this one here is really my autobiography. It's like with these series I'm putting myself out there, and I'm trying to be as honest as I can be. And the more I post, the more willing I am to be more open. And I feel like this whole channel and every video I've made is my autobiography. So if you want to know me, you can kind of watch all these videos. But maybe there should be a summarized version in the future. Pass on wisdom to my children. We all hope to have children, and pass on our knowledge and what we've learned onto them, so they can do the same for their children, and keep that going. Now, in every one I've done, well, every personal goal exercise I've done, I've taken a picture of it to have it there digitally. Digitally meaning just have it on my phone, so I don't, in case I lose a notebook. Like even now, I don't know which notebook I writ this in, but the fact that I've taken a picture of it, it shows me that I've written this on paper, and it exists on paper. Now, I thought I would get on to number 2, but we don't have enough time. But as you can see, I'll end it with just a short scroll. There is so many to get through, so much. And you can see the thing that gets me the most is the pictures, because you can see the pictures of what I was doing and where I was at the time. And You know what I mean? And a lot of that, and that's all my life. That's pretty much my life of creating goals and having dreams and aspirations and a purpose. So we hope to get to the end of this. And I thought I would leave it. I would end it the way I started it, with the same message from Matthew McConaughey, because it's a very inspiring message to chase after what you feel like you deserve to have and what you want to achieve. And this, seemingly enough, this long-term mindset personal goal exercises is an embodiment of that message. So I will end off here. Thank you for watching this insightful, introspective video.
I want to ask you, can you admit something in your life that you don't feel like you deserve or have earned? Can you admit a goal or a dream that you want to chase, but you're feeling like, nah, I can't fly that high. I'm not equipped. I don't really have the ability. I'm not qualified. Can you admit something in your life that guilt is keeping you from getting? Can you admit something that you don't want to start, continue, or finish because you're afraid to? Say it aloud to yourself. Write it down. Confess. Admit it.